floor to Honorable Chris Wamalwa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to start from the onset by congratulating my friend Honorable Emmanuel Wangwe, the MP for Navaholo, for coming up with such a wonderful bill. Madam Speaker, this bill has been long overdue. I know Honorable Wangwe. At that time, I was a ranking member of the Budget Committee. He came and presented. And as the requirement of any money bill, it had to go to the Treasury. But the CS didn't give us a positive feedback, and that's why this has taken long. Recently, we've had an executive order that the fees should be scrapped. And this is an idea that Honorable Wangwe has been having it since we entered this parliament. So thank you, Mheshimiwa, and I know in a short while we are going to have this issue being implemented. We thank His Excellency for the executive order, but unfortunately, Madam Speaker, if you have an executive order and maybe later on you have a rogue president, that issue cannot be sustained. So it is indeed important that we must have a bill in place, we must have an act in place, so that whoever comes in is obligated that the exam fee must be abolished. When you look at the Millennium Development Goals, Madam Speaker, particularly the Millennium Goal number 2, which says access to universal primary education. Last time I had an opportunity of going to London to attend the MDG, the role of parliamentarians. And one of the critical issues that came up, which has been a handicap, that many governments are having free primary education like Kenya. But unfortunately, the exam fee become an obstacle. So if this bill goes through, Madam Speaker, I have no doubt that the rating of Kenya, as far as access to basic primary education, is going to be high. And once we finalize this, Madam Speaker, we are saying the NEC, the Kenya National Examination Council, we've seen even in schools, the headmasters, the principals, some of them, they squander the fees, the amount of money that the poor children have paid, and they don't do the exam. So once this bill is in place, the government is going to budget for it, and those poor children who can't afford, they are going to be assured of education. Free education can only be achieved, Madam Speaker, if by the end of going to school, you have a certificate. And you can only have a certificate if you've done the exam. So this bill is going to add a lot of value as far as improving issues of welfare. Even when you look at Millennium Development Goal number 1, which talks about alleviation of eradicate total poverty. If people go to school, we are going to eradicate poverty because their chances of getting employment are going to be enhanced. They are going to do the exams without any issue. And as we move on, Madam Speaker, what do you want to say? Once this issue is abolished, then Professor Kiminini doesn't need to tell the head teachers that they must report to the ministry for purposes of enforcing the government directive on school fees. Because actually that was the critical issue. So once we finalize with this, we don't want the TSC mandate to be interfered, and the head teachers, the principals, should report the TSC, but not the issue of coming to report to the Cabinet Secretary. Madam Speaker, another issue, President Mwai Kibaki, the former president, his legacy, the legacy he left was of free primary education. And now the Jubilee government, we've been wondering to see what legacy they are going to leave behind. We were thinking of the laptop issue has never come. But at least now if you actualize the issue of exam fee, at least maybe that can be a legacy. And we want my other colleagues to support, because the president has already given that executive order, is already in place, but we want to put a legal backing so that this issue can be implemented, and we can actualize, actually, in line with our constitution, which talks of access to education, that's Article 43, so that this issue of exam fee can be abolished. But the worry is, are we abolishing for everyone, even those ones in the private schools that can afford? This is something we should think about. And this is direct now to the mover, Honorable Wangwe. We need to know, because when you look at this bill, if we abolish, are we abolishing even in the private schools, or is only in the public schools? It is indeed important as we move on, or we go to the committee of the whole house, we need to bring some amendments so that we'll be able to know. If somebody has gone to school, a private school, and they can afford, so be it. So my interest here is critically focusing on the public schools. Because even when it comes to healthcare, when you offer free medical services, they only access in public schools. When you go to private hospitals, it's totally different. Some of these private schools are there for profit making. So it is indeed important, if the parents can afford, this should be focusing on issues of public schools, but not issues of the private schools. I want to thank the committee. I was sharing this with one of the colleagues who are in the Committee of Education, and it's good that they are supporting, because we've seen some committees, when a nice bill comes, they look for a way of frustrating. And I'm happy to learn that the Committee of Education, they are fully supporting this issue, and I want to thank that committee. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I'm requesting other honorable members to support this bill so that the poor children can be able to access education. Thank you.